The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast. As Speed Weeks comes to a close in the real world, Speed Weeks in area comes to a close in their capacity. We just had a clash a few weeks ago. We aired the area truck series on Tuesday night to a 3-wide photo finish, and let's round things down here today with the Florida Estate Area Pro Series. A field of 50 plus and drivers will be looking to get into 43 starting spots for the Season 1 start-off of one of the most prestigious leagues in iRacing. Welcome everybody to PTR TV for today's coverage of the Area Pro Series, presented by Florida Estate Builders. And again, round number 1, 95 laps here at the World Center of Racing. Gonna be myself, Corey Silva, in the booth and in the production truck. I got Brad Dalton and Hunter Sleppy here to help us out with all of the action at play here. So start with you, Brad, because we saw obviously an absolutely gripping race on Tuesday night. A lot of wrecks, but the racing was intense and white knuckle. I see no reason not to expect the same here tonight.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. This is one that I was really looking forward to here because I like Xfinity cars a lot. I'm not going to lie to you. So whenever I saw Xfinity cars out and about at Daytona, I kind of just said, I want a piece of this because this is going to be a lot of fun to enjoy here around area. It's always a big event, a big time here. The long week here of Daytona has been done and dusted. And, well, we still have this one race to round it out, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Hunter, I'm sure you can testify as much as I can just how fun this league is. I know you've been around it for a while, and there's a lot of drivers trying to drive it in tonight.
Yeah, I've been here since the very beginning, from the ground up. Back when our first 4 series, we had an ARCA series as well. That was my favorite, but then it slowly became the Cup series, and over the last couple of years, it has been the Xfinity car, otherwise known as the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series. Yeah, 57 guys registered on the website, but only about 43 or so can work their way into the field, and we do have some open cars trying to qualify their way in, and one of those being a late registry in Mason Kane. You remember Tuesday night winning in a 3-wide photo finish, 31 thousandths of a second separating him and teammate Cameron Hearn, who's also another late entry trying to work his way into the field as an open car. Got some other drivers I mentioned from back in Season 1. Forrest Smith, he's an open car. He ran the Pro Series and he ran the ARCA Series as well. And then also some unknown names into the field like Jimmy Cocker, Jonathan Evans. He's known in the area, but not in the Pro Series side of things. And Connor Horn as well, also an open car trying to work his way into the field.
Of course, a lot of big names and names that you will even recognize from the Tuesday Coca-Cola iRacing series. We got guys from all echelons of sim racing here. Again, we talked heavily about the iRatings and how some of those drivers, upwards of 10,000 here today, with the likes of Logan Clampett looking to try to get himself in here with a 9,700 rating. Today's race sponsored by and assisted by a lot of different companies. They are in the description of this video, starting off with, of course, the Area iRacing Twitch, which finally is working here today. You can be, if you're watching this on YouTube, great, but if you're watching it on Twitch, welcome. Race fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel to catch the Area Truck Series on Tuesdays, and of course what you're watching here today, the Area Pro Series. Use custom Area iRacing emotes in the chat while earning double points as a subscriber to redeem for free merchandise. Start today at $5 a month at twitch.tv/area iRacing. I'm an old guy. I don't even know what an emote is. I think it's like an emoji type thing, but you can get them if you support the channel with a little bit of a subscription there. But guys, we are going to get into what I believe is single lap qualifying, which that's how it was in the trucks, and getting all of that momentum built up over the course of that restricted engine. That is going to be a big challenge to be able to maximize your timed lap.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to kind of watch how the drivers handle this qualifying, because it's going to be really, really close here. And again, with up to 12 drivers being driven out here just on qualifying pace alone, you can't afford a mistake here. It is all about that run. Hunter, if you have that moment in qualifying, it's heartbreaking, and driving it in, that's a whole nother challenge in and of itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you're an open car, you have a lot of pressure on yourself. And we're looking at some of the qualifying times from a few drivers before the session went up about a few hours ago. The lap times they ran single car speed-wise, they broke the track record for qualifying. So I'm not sure if we're going to see that just yet, because it's in a different session and different ambiance and whatnot. But should be interesting seeing here. And there's the unofficial flagman of the Hendry County Motorsports Park. That is Travis Beckner in the 27. He had an up and down season last year. He wound up with 3 straight victories at some point during the season, but other than that, he had a fast car, but he just seemed to get himself into some sort of carnage one way or another. So he's looking to kick things off on the right foot this season with Central United. His teammates Jeff Wright and Casey Licata is also going to be locked into the field, with a new teammate in Daniel Day coming up from the trucks.
There's Justin Anna Sogak here. I looked at the pronunciation sheet. Hopefully I got that right here. He's in the hell yeah Camaro here. And let's see what he could pull off. That is legal from what we've been told. You can go on the apron there in qualifying. Of course, you won't see that in the race. Travis Beckner. There goes Justin, P1. Very, very short-lived. Here comes Bolton. Everybody is getting themselves in here. Looks like the 50.4 time bracket, guys, is going to be where the money is here today.
This is going to be a very, very, very close qualifying. If the truck qualifying was any indication, this qualifying here is going to be just cats and dogs and whisker hairs apart here. It's going to be a little bit ridiculous. And of course, this afternoon while I was working, I had some old NASCAR highlights on, the 2 1,000th, the 1 1,000th separations of wins, the 3 wide rundowns to the line. Those are always fun to watch, but I got to say, if you lined up all these drivers and we saw all of their laps at once, that's essentially what you'd have. It's the difference between getting through and not getting through, or being first or being 25th on the grid, is essentially if you blink in the wrong place on this track, you're having a bad day. So, Hunter, I don't know about you, but if I'm an open driver here and I'm trying to get through, it's P's and Q's. It's all the way through, and you cannot mess it up.
No, it could be from as small as 1 1,000th of a second, separating yourself from being in the show to watching in the stands or at your setup at home. But yeah, Justin Sogak listed as an open car. He did have a win last season at Talladega. He's also won here in the past at Daytona, so not a shock that he's qualified up inside the top 5. And there's Mason Kane, mentioned the 3 1,000ths of a second photo finish. Had some talks in the offseason. He had some doubts whether or not he could still do it, but that win on Tuesday proves that he sure can. Philip Groner, a part of 609 Motorsports, that's a team to watch out for. They've got Jake Nichols, Jeremy Miller, who was 1 1,000th shy of becoming an Area 500 champion on Monday, and James Skyerly as well. Skyerly had 2 wins last season, coming over from David Weishart Racing into 609.
There's Reese Schaefer, a name that we recognize here on the channel, 29th. He was usually pretty good on the plate tracks, but he's going to have to work his way up. And again, that cut line is the ticker does scroll down. The slowest driver as of now is at a 50.64. Looks like you're going to want to be mid 50.5s to be safe in this thing, as Joseph Berg, he's going to be 46th. So that is not going to air favorably for him. And a couple drivers to round things out, here comes Mr. Brad Slaughter. He was the 3-wide guy the other day. He was the guy that made the move where if nobody else was making it, he's going to run a 50-50. That puts him 11th. And again, just the variance, guys, as qualifying winds down. A 50-42 up front, P1. 53rd is a 50-64. That is 2/10 among 50-some odd drivers.
It's an absolutely tight gap for everything here. I'm looking to see the official numbers on who makes it through and who doesn't. One of the drivers actually trying to drive their way in is Mason Kane. Jimmy Cocker trying to drive his way in. Reese Schaefer is on the GoPro or Go Home list here tonight as well. So lots of names here that we're looking to see who goes through, who doesn't on the best times. Looks like we will get.
Brad, Go Pro or Go Home? Is that the actual acronym there? Did you make that up, or was that like an intentional screw up there? Because that was pretty nifty. I like that.
That was a little bit of dyslexia kicking in.
That
it's actually
out.
Pro Go or Go Home, but I'm thinking Go Pro or Go Home is better.
I mean, it's the Pro Series, so yeah, that's a penicillin there. That's a beneficial mistake there, as qualifying is over and we will have a warm-up period. I finally kind of have that in the old noggin. We're not instantly going down to the grid, and we'll await the final confirmation of who goes pro and who will have to pack their bags and head to, I want to say, Miami in about a week or two's time. Of course, 2 weeks' time, because next week, if you're watching this live, is Build Week, which a lot of stuff will be changing. But yes, we will be going to Miami Homestead Speedway on March 20th. So if you miss this race, well, you get... Actually, you say you don't even have 2 weeks' time to practice because we don't even know what changes are going to happen next week. So, but either way, we'll see how that list is as these guys get their minute or two of warm-up in.
Officially 13 DNQs here, Hunter. So that is officially where we're at. And I'm trying to look through at any drivers who may not have made it. I know Cameron Hearn didn't make it. Brian Chambliss didn't make it. Ryan Novicki in the 74 is not going to make it. I can tell you that one. Trying to see any others. Connor Horn, Mason Kane, Reese Schaefer did not make the drive-in.
Oh, wow. That's huge.
Yeah, we're going to...
Official... 2 1,000ths of a second is the separation between last place and Connor Horn.
Yeah, so again, that is a big hit there, but I mean, it's to be expected when there's such a small variance. I mean, I tell you, if I was to qualify in this race, you can give me the best setup that iRacing provides, the best setup that any setup shop has, any Coke driver, and I would tell you, I would not make this race. I cannot qualify. And that's Nate Stewart there. That is not how you want to do a pit entry, because that will make the tires mad, and it'll probably get you a speeding penalty. Things to look out for, those green flag cycles, if we do have it. There's Connor O'Kresick in that number 14 car. Gotta like that slick kind of gold chrome-ish numbers there. Taking a good liking to that, am I? And again, people getting that practice in, guys. You know, every different stock car on iRacing, and in the real world for that matter, reacts differently in the draft. And there's certain places you can bump, certain places you can't bump. And it's really, really good to get that practice in with the guys that you know you're going to work with so you can get the most out of your race.
It's going to be real interesting. And Hunter, you can probably elaborate more on this. You know, the team game, we saw a bit of it in the Truck Series Tuesday, and it's something that we tend to see a lot just in these super speedway tracks. When you got a lot of teams together, you know, the teams find the teams and they want to get together and play the buddy system. But at some point, the buddy system goes out the door. You know, Hunter, in your experience, when does that buddy system here at Area hit? When does that buddy system not matter? Who should we watch to race with who? What's going to be kind of the big highlight? And is there any specific team you're rooting for? I can tell you YouTube chat has their preferences and their friends, but I want to know who you have your friend and your look at on.
First off, the teamwork side of things, there's already a few channels I'm looking through in the Discord where there's more than one team, because there's 4 cars a team, technically 5 if you count the reserve drivers. So if there's more than 5, it's definitely with another team. I know David Weishart Racing, they have a couple of teams in there. Looks like Powerhouse Racing has a couple in there as well. But 609's got a lot as well. So we saw teamwork Tuesday night and Monday night as well for the Area 500. We saw guys choreographing how to work their way through, and especially, for example, Powerhouse. This is actually in the duels, but they were choreographing when and where to make the move. Someone was saying that they were getting hot, so they moved low and they just stayed together. Now in the Area 500, we didn't quite see that because in the last couple of corners, all bets were off. Well, I shouldn't say last couple of corners, last couple hundred feet, all bets were off for the 609 Motorsports guys. That's when we saw Bailey Turner and Jeremy Miller. It seemed like Miller had it, but Bailey Turner made a move. And in that last couple hundred feet, all bets are off, and your teammates are no longer teammates. They're an enemy, especially when it's Daytona.
Exactly that.
Sorry, as far as teams, I'd have to say 609 again. They got Jake Nichols. Looking through maybe David Weishart Racing, Bryce Senesac, the pole sitter from Tuesday night in the truck series. Also like a little underdog in Matthew Bell in the 9 IRLC Motorsports. Feel like he's long overdue for a win and should be in a good spot, along with Theta Bradslaw for Low Dollar Racing.
We'll see all how that comes into fruition with our guesses here, but our starting lineup is about to come under existence here. And again, our starting lineup today brought to you by, help me out here. Who is the... I knew this. Here it is. It's Central Mobile Homes here as I struggle here on my dock. Looking for a small or large home, a new shed, or triple crown trailer? Look no further than Central Mobile Homes. They've been proudly serving Florida customers for 29 years with a plethora of small and large home floor plans, shed designs, and triple crown trailers. Available in LaBelle, Okeechobee, Clewiston, and Sebring. Head to centralmobilehomesinc.com. They are sponsoring our starting lineup, so let's go ahead and give it to you. The PTR TV starting lineup brought to you by Central Mobile Homes. Starting today's race off from the front row, going to be none other than Mr. Justin Bolton with a 50.42, and then we got Brady Walleman on the outside. Next position will be Justin Anasogak with Jonathan Evans in the 4th spot. 5th, we have Trey Edson, and then Ed Robertson going to be in 5th. Or rather in 6th, pardon me. 7th is Connor O'Kresick with Michael Venable in the 8th position. And rounding out our top 10, we got Alan Fox and then Matthew Batby. Mr. Brad.
Yeah, from there, we're going to go P11, Brad Slaughter Jr., and then Travis Beckner is going to bring us home in 12th place in the Chevy. 13th place, Garrett Grant. And then in P14, we got Blaze McKinney taking a Toyota up the hill there. Jake Nichols in 15th place, a name I recognize. And David Weishart, another name I recognize from the channel here on P16. Nate Stewart from Hopkinsville, Kentucky in 17th. And John Forbes Jr. in P18. From there, we're going to go P19, Sebastian Martin. And then James Scioli.
Yeah, Scioli. There we go. Scioli.
In 20th.
Off to you, Hunter.
Oh, I didn't know it was my turn. I'm not usually doing this. So 21st is going to be Devin Johnson, and to his outside, it's going to be Zach Nichols in the 44, rolling off 22nd. 23rd is Drew Jewell in the 38. Alongside him, Connor Horn, a late entry in the 57, who'll roll off 24th. 25th, it's Jeff Wright in the 48, and alongside him, Ed Shearer Jr. rolling off P26 in the number 6. Did say that Mason Kane didn't make the field.
Correct.
Or did he make it?
I had it down that he's out.
Well, the grid clearly has its nuances here, so but we'll just go with what we got. We got Logan Clampett in 29th, Justin Opplinger in 30th, and then we'll let the bottom scroll by. We got Michael Muhammad, Reese Schaefer. Yeah, there must be something going on with the this is the Q times, but with who is actually in via the league's systems, there must be a little bit of a differentiation there that we will sort out in due course, but we'll let this scroll by. We did just get confirmation we only have one lap here. There's no EOLs, no adjustments to the lineup that need to be required, so we will have just one pace lap around this place. Gives us an opportunity for our race details, sponsored by We're Still Looking for a Sponsor. 95 laps around, which for you mathematics nerds, that equals 237 miles. Fuel load, I took a gander at this. I'm guessing 35 to 40 laps. I don't know exactly because I don't drive these things very often myself. I'm up here in the booth, and then we got 3 green-white checkers. We saw one of them last night. We'll see what is on the table here today. Our keys to the race: patience versus survival. You can't win it if you ain't in it. Gotta evade the wrecks, but you gotta be up front. and avoid them wrecks right while you're at it. And of course, time your move. We saw last night the move was missed by about maybe 0.3 of a second. That was the difference between making the move too early and too late. Our keys to the race. But Barney's going to have the flag in hand as the pace car comes through the tri-oval and makes the hard left turn into the grass area. Pro Series is here on PTR TV and on Twitch, and we're ready to get going. The green flag's in the air. Let's go racing here at Daytona.
Love the sound of these cars as they get away here, as they run down into turn one. You're not going to see anything too wild too early, I would think. But of course, well, the truck series was any indication. You're going to see something eventually. Somebody's going to brave it and take it 3 wide here around Daytona. Through 1 and 2 we go. The pack's going to keep it together here. Up in the front, you got the 10 and the 88 that are keeping together on the low line. The high line, you've got that number 39 and that number 26 that are going to keep things moving and grooving. No, we're already wrecking on the backstretch.
Oh, it's a massive one. 4 or 5 cars spinning to the inside, coming back up. It's a melee. Brad Slaughter's in it. I mean, half the field's involved in turn 3. Didn't even make it a lap, and the yellow's already out.
Guys, I mean, so we'll take a look at the replay. I want to be nice about what I saw. It was not a driver's fault. That is, unfortunately, it was not a driver's fault here. You can look at the 88. We saw that in the Coca-Cola iRacing series, I believe, as well. It was just kind of a weird, as we call it, a net code glitch or something on board with the 88. He's driving, and it just stopped. Like, it just stopped, and obviously right in front of the field, and just nothing that really anybody can do to wad up a whole bunch of drivers. The 44 there, we're going to have to get it on board with him. That was a masterful job in that 44 of Zach Nichols to get through that. Let's take a look at his perspective there.
And I mean, here's the thing, guys, when you're at these speeds, they're not typically, at speed. They're going up through turns 1 and 2, but when they hit that part of the backstretch, they're at speed. Look at this major. Oh my God. I don't even know what to say to that one. That's some driving skills. I don't know what to tell you. Because they're doing 180 miles an hour down the backstretch, and there's nothing you can do. If that's even like a millimeter of a glitch there, it's game over.
Exactly that. Indeed. We'll just get one more brief look at that. Again, just kind of focusing on the 88 of Anna Sogak there, which is where it stemmed from. Again, that's going to be a race-changing wreck because of how many guys that involved. There's enough time that they can get themselves situated, hopefully, and get that damage repaired. But obviously not what we want to see. And again, our replays here today, sponsored by Hendry County Motorsports Park. Racing is back at Hendry County Motorsports Park. You can join us Saturday, March 8th, so that's in 2 days' time if you're watching this live, for the Cruiser Street Stocks, Factory Stocks, and more. Tickets are $20 for adults, $5, and ages kids 5 and under are free. Bring the family to the track with a family pack of 4 for $25. Come see the southernmost dirt track in America in Clewiston, Florida, right off Highway US 27, HendryRacing.com for more info. But 3 laps in, and Brady Walleman, a name that, Brad, where do we know this name from? We covered him somewhere. Can't put a finger on it. It may have been SSRL on Saturdays, but either way, Brady Walleman leading this thing down, and let's just take a look at how busy pit road is at the present. I think it is quite busy.
The answer is yes. Justin Anasogek, of course, where everything started there is in. Let's see. This will give us an idea of everyone involved.
It's half the field.
Weishart.
Well, let's put it this way. There's 24 drivers pacing right now. Everybody else is in the pits. We'll just spin it backwards, I suppose. So
it's easier for me to tell you the cars that didn't get damaged than the cars that do have damage. Brady Walleman, Jonathan Evans, Justin Bolton, Ed Robertson, Matthew Batby, Blaze McKinney, Garrett Grant, John Forbes Jr., Jeff Wright, and David Weishart. The only cars that have not been in pit lane for any period of time. Every other car has been in the pit lane.
Yeah, it'd be easier for me to write that as opposed to every single car number that was in the field. In the wreck, about half the field. But whoever's left will get themselves doubled up, stacked up, ready to go back green flag racing. And this kind of takes me back to, I mean, I guess depending on what NASCAR verbiage you want to use, an Xfinity race, nationwide race, or at the time Busch race, Talladega Super Speedway for us old timers back 2000 and someone's gonna have to correct me in chat. I'm gonna say 2002.
Oh.
It was the 2002 Xfinity race at Talladega. Took out about 30 cars, and the remainder of the race was basically 10 guys putting around. And you had some no-names have some pretty good finishes there. So, of course, we're not going to have a situation that bad. We got 25 cars, and luckily these are the carbon fiber bodies, so they do repair pretty decently here in Sim. So with enough cautions and pit stops, I think we'll still have a pretty good-sized field, guys.
Yeah, I definitely think we're going to be okay here. Hunter, I gotta say that's a shakeup here. I think the guys are going to be okay and be able to get back out, try to get their cars repaired and going. Does this change anything in strategy at all here for anyone, Hunter?
I would say 100%. I mean, especially seeing like that couldn't have happened at a worse spot on the racetrack. They're heading into turn 3. You go to the inside, it's just grass. You're just going to slide up the embankment. I would expect to see guys take it a little more steady, especially after seeing that. That's almost unheard of. I mean, there was an incident a few seasons back where a lap car caused a wreck in turn 3 because he didn't pull off, but that netcode is about as bad a netcode as I've seen in a long time. But still got over 90 laps left, and Wildman looking to kick things off on this restart.
To the Geico, soon-to-be Echo Park restart zone. Green flag back in the air. He's going to get the jump over Jonathan Evans, but of course on a drafting style track, as we now call it in this new lack of plate ages. That may not be a good thing. 64 of Robertson to the outside with the push from Jonathan Evans. The 10 on the inside of the racetrack right now of Justin Bolton. He's driving 10, but it is number 4 in the simulator, so we'll have to addendum that thought. But they'll reconvene down the back straightaway, and we are 2x2 for the most part of the field.
No netcode to be found here down the backstretch. Don't let me commentator curse that into reality. 26, Jonathan Evans is going to drop to the low line here and keep things going. We're all good through 3 and 4 and 5 of 95 down. We're going to bring it through 3 and 4. And again, we're going to just keep that 2x2 going here. Hunter, they're going to keep this going for a while, I'd say. But at some point, like we saw on trucks Tuesday night, they're going to get brave and try to take it 3 wide and hold that for a little while.
Yeah, I would assume so, but it's still a little bit too early to be pushing it 3 wide, but you never know. There are those couple of drivers who would like to or tend to do that throughout the field. Wildman, actually, yeah, it is Wildman pushing the 26 of Jonathan Evans through 2 and down the back. Ed Robertson leading that outside lane. He's got Blaze McKinney on his bumper, pushing him through. He's got the advantage for the moment.
Yep. Side by side, just trading inches here down the back straightaway. And I think Tuesday night, Brad, 2 nights ago in the truck series, I think we were already 3 abreast at this point. So it leads you to wonder, is it a little bit of patience after what we just saw? Or are these guys maybe just kind of taking the fact that this race is 5 laps longer, that there is a lot to play? And again, the risk versus reward game, kind of a little bit of a different showing than what the opening laps had on Tuesday.
Well, and again, a lot of these drivers, I recognize names tonight from Tuesday. You're going to recognize names from Tuesday on Monday. So you can kind of, if we're treating this as a full speed week setup, everybody kind of gets the full week to learn, with the exception of course, VDRA last night as they ran through. So you're going to have drivers that have kind of mellowed out through the week, I think is the best way to phrase that. They've kind of gotten to breathe and sort of, slow things down and really get comfortable with where they're at, so that way they can keep things going. And I think that's going to come to play. I think it's as we've gone through here, as we're on board with Logan Clampett, who's in 8th place after that fiasco early on. They've realized that this race is long, and Hunter, you and me and Corey all know that the quickest way to make a long race twice as long is to just drive too aggressive.
Yeah, that would be not ideal for a good portion of the field, but we didn't see that early on. I mean, it can still happen. Ed Robertson certainly wanted to be aggressive. He's one that's looking to get wins, especially at a track like Daytona where the playing field is so open. It's anyone's game. Open car, locked in car, front runner, back marker. Doesn't matter. You still have a shot, and he's making the most of it right now, leading on the inside lane. His pusher, Blaze McKinney, now leading the outside lane.
Blaze McKinney won at Indianapolis in the Cup Series a few seasons ago, and he is trying to lead this thing down with a win here at Daytona International, but a lot of laps here in the way. And again, I kind of took the estimate, Hunter, and I don't know how much more you know about the race strat than I do. I kind of estimated 35 to 40 laps. Was I in the ballpark there, or what would be our expected range here tonight?
I would say you're about right. Some would try to push it maybe past 40, but I doubt we see that. They would like to make it probably a two-stop race. I doubt they could do it through one, the extra laps in there, and make it impossible for that to try and stretch it to one. So would assume at some point 2 stops. I'm not sure if anyone's going to try the strategy to pit early. Seems like less than ideal, especially at a track like Daytona. So expect to see a lot of side-by-side racing for the next 20 laps or so.
Side-by-side racing indeed, and everyone just kind of minding their P's and Q's. And just as I say that, never mind.
Let's take out the rest of the field again here. 29 goes up on top of another car, brings it through, and I mean, man, I don't know if someone got hooked or what happened there, but that very, very quickly.
I don't think his car turned. I think it was, to me, it looked like a hardware issue.
Seemed to have a hardware failure from what it looks like here.
Yeah, because his car just goes straight. Like, it didn't even seem like he was turning. It just went straight. No one near him, just up, and man, that's a lot of cars.
We can confirm it was not a blown right front tire. Yeah, the car just. The steering wheel was still locked. The steering wheel was still pointed to the left, but
and then as soon as something happens, that wheel straightens back out,
and right in front of the field too. And I mean, very coincidental, but wasn't this where Anisogak had his problems right around the 4th starting position?
Yep.
4th position in line, and
I mean that's a tough pill to swallow for the field. I mean to have 2 issues like that this early on in the going, that's just absurd.
His PC froze.
Yeah, that'll do it. And we're on board with somebody right now. I don't know who it is, but we're on board with somebody to see their perspective of it. I just clicked a name in the back of the field, and whoever this is, we'll uncover it. Did a phenomenal job. That's the number 44 of Zach Nichols. He says, a 1X incident point is worth it if it means I have a car that is in one piece. I would also use that same logic myself.
Brady's already apologizing too. He's very, very sorry. I will communicate that on his behalf here as I look through 2 huge incidents within the first 10 laps. I mean, both of them kind of nothing you could do about them either. And, in sim racing, we don't have to deal with flat tires and a lot of crazy things. But, Hunter, this is the other part that we deal with. We don't deal with the mechanical failures, but sometimes you just have hardware moments and network moments that happen.
Yeah, this is extremely rare for it to happen. It might happen once in a blue moon.
Oh, it's a 61. What is this? The 61 car.
Oh, what in the world?
I'll give him credit. Daniel Day, he has a PTR TV logo on his car, so I can't roast him too much for that. But we do have to figure out what did happen to him there, because curious minds must know.
Better than nothing.
And we'll have to... Let's see.
He just completely missed the box.
Forgot where he was pitting.
Hunter, what is going on tonight, man? I don't know how else to say that.
It might be a full moon because I can't explain what's happening because, like I was saying, it's once in a blue moon where we'll have some sort of hardware issue or some netcode issue, but for it to happen 2 times within the span of 10 laps in the same race, it's a little bit crazy, and I'm kind of concerned to see what the next 70-some laps have in store for us.
Not a full moon. We don't have a full moon for a week, guys, so it's not that.
Well, in iRacing, we don't physically have a moon, so it can't be that in the virtual sense. But again, we'll take a gander at things right now. We have 20 cars currently not in the pit lane here as we take a look back, and you can just see how many drivers are in the pits right now. It is, in this instance, more than half the field. Again, 43 cars starting. 20 are on circuit right now, and the rest of them are just working on damage. So I mean, I can tell you, I raced an Xfinity race last night at Atlanta, which is a pseudo super speedway, and I got some pretty serious front end contact, and even with about a minute of damage, getting 30 seconds of it fixed, I was running as if there was nothing wrong with the car. So it doesn't put anybody out of the race, assuming that they were not on their lid, which I don't think anybody was. But either way, we are on 1 to green here. So a couple guys, just getting out just in the nick of the pace car there. But we'll get doubled up, stacked up, and we'll try this once more.
Race Control called that one on the number 39 and gave them 2 admin points for that. I get it. I know it's in the rules. It's there for a reason, but with a PC freeze, especially when it's that clear in an onboard cam with the steering wheel just hooking straight. I'm not going to get us fired yet. I have opinions.
Well,
and what do we do at PTR TV? We share them.
It's tough at the end of the day because obviously it's not necessarily the driver's fault that the PC had problems, but at the same time, it is your physical property, so you are kind of joining the race, and it is your expectation that your hardware performs. So league kind of in a tough spot, drivers in a tough spot. We have overheating issues, we have driver updates, we have Windows errors. That's the equivalent of losing a cylinder or anything in that capacity. But we come down the back straightaway here at Daytona, and we'll try this once more. Again, we have a very healthy audience watching this race here on YouTube, and I don't have the Twitch numbers in front of me, but I'm assuming so. But if you are watching on YouTube, if you don't mind, just take a look at that like, subscribe, and notification bell. Don't just take a look at it. Press the button here. We just eclipsed 1,500 subscribers on our mission to 16, and so on and so forth. So if you could help us out with that, we would highly appreciate it. It does not cost you a cent to do so. But it'll be Robertson and Evans on the front row, Justin Bolton, and then Matthew Batby in row number 2. Brad, how about you get this restart underway for us?
Yeah, and as we come here through 3 and 4, going down the straightaway here, heading towards the tri-oval, Robertson has control here. When's he going to decide to go? Well, right there, about halfway through the Geico restart zone. Green flag in there for Barney, and here we go racing. Lap 13 of 95, 2 big incidents already underway. Lap 14 now begins, and look at that 48 drop down. Jeff Wright deciding to drop very low there across as we bring it through that 26, holding the midline. Single file here, which Hunter, I don't know about you, but single file for a few seconds, still interesting to see. Wonder if the guys are really going to tone it down here.
Oh, man, they're at the point where they just want to get laps in, but Jonathan Evans is at the point where he wants to lead this, and he's got some help behind him. That's Logan Clampett over in the number 90s, listed 47 on the ticker, but he's number 90. He ran 7 races last season in the Pro Series, has a couple of wins to his name, and right behind him, that's the new and revamped look of James Scioli in the 7th. Used to him with the Rick's Hot Sauce colors, but with 609, he's got a different look and a different paint job, and at the line, believe it was Robertson that time through.
Exactly that. Robertson will just be trading lead changes here. Maybe that'll be our PTR TV bet that we'll do later here in the race. Our friendly bet, how many lead changes is this race going to have? I don't remember what it was on Tuesday, but I know it was more than 45 out of 90 lap race. So maybe we can eclipse that here today. That outside lane has about maybe 10 cars in it. Bottom lane has about 15. There's a minor spacing between the 21st position, which concludes with the number 55/05 of Justin Opplinger. And then we go back a little bit further back, and there's a little mini second pack. I think the first lead lap driver of that being the 00 of Devin Johnson, and Jake Nichols in the number 73 Chevy modified car, evidently.
Bringing it through here. I mean, I respect being on track there for the 73. Got to get it out and about, but man, he's going to be a little bit slow, but still chugging through laps. Early on, any points you can get are better than no points because you never know where the season's going to go. We got 17 rounds to get through, and it could be a long season here in this Florida State Pro Series. So, I mean, yeah, get it back on track if you can. Get it through. You never know when the next caution is going to come. And Hunter, if you can get that car together enough through things, get a little bit lucky, we've seen drivers with beat up cars get to the front of the field real fast.
Yeah, it's not ruled out of the window just yet, but it's still a dogfight for the lead. Robertson's still on the inside, Evans on the outside. I wanted to take a look at the car that's fifth in line, the number 5 of Garrett Grant. So there's a little fun tidbit that I looked up since the Truck Series race on Tuesday. So second place in the truck race at Talladega, the season finale, that was Mason Kane, and he wound up coming through with a absolute jaw dropper of a finish. And second place in the Pro Series race at Talladega last season, Garrett Grant in the 5. He had a shot to win. David Weishart was going to go with him, gave him a bad bump in the tri-oval, loosened up his chances of winning. So I would like to keep my eye on Garrett Grant. He's got the most starts here in the area. He's been with us since season 1. I mean, he rarely misses a race. I think he missed one last season, and that was the first race he missed at all in area. So he would be my car to watch out for. A little sneaky at times, but he knows how to put himself in the right position.
Garrett Grant, a name I also raced with. We're going back to 2017, 2018. Him, David Weishart. There was we called it rivalry racing. Kind of had some college-themed trucks at the time, and I actually raced and broadcast with them. Those are some good folks, and good to see some good action out here with these guys. And that second pack, and you can clearly tell the damage between the two. I'll bring up the laps on the ticker for you, the lap times. Bryce Senesac there, he is running about a 48 flat down there in that 22nd spot. Comparative to the leaders, which are running lap times that they're of about 47.6, about a half second slower for that damaged second pack.
Yeah, as we watch that second pack kind of lose time, lose touch there. And I mean, even with them losing touch, I mean, my opinion is they just need to stay out. They need to keep running. This front pack is really where I'm curious to see who's calm, who's chaotic, what happens way here as they go through. You've got that inside line, which I don't know why, but traditionally you tend to see most of the cars line up on the inside line. I've always liked running the outside line personally, though. Running that outside line through, that's where I tend to stay when I'm racing here at Daytona. So as we follow them through and around, you know, they're going to hold things off and hold things through. I don't see anyone really trying to split 3 wide yet, though. Hunter, they're going to hold on for a while and kind of keep things through. I don't know, I don't know what to expect where.
I'm in the same boat as you, not sure what to expect where, but Logan Clampett has led the charge on that outside lane. He's leading that through. Scioli behind him, and then you got Sebastian Marin, who had a pretty good season last year in the Truck Series. I mean, it was a season so good. He had 5 wins in 11 truck starts. He made the playoffs, seemed like he was going to be the champion, but couldn't run the playoff races, so took himself out, so gave another spot to a contender. So I would keep an eye on him as well. Just seems like he's got a fast, hot rod, just like Jonathan Evans there on the inside. Coming up on a lap car and should get through this fine, but a little brief 3-wide moment in the tri-oval.
Going a lap down there. I think that is, it's not John Furness. It is Braxton Deweese in that number 13 Allen's Art Image Mustang, I believe that is. Clearly well off the pace. He's going to need a plethora of more cautions to get that car to where he needs it to be. Just covering more of the P's and Q's here. I don't think we have spoke about, actually we have a little bit of time to go over our sponsors, so you got plenty of time. But again, if you look in the description here on YouTube and on Twitch, a lot of sponsors here in the league, they are rotating on the top left of your display. Again, check out all of those partners who help us with the league. But Logan Clampett has the lead. He's going to play traffic cop here, go bottom and top, try to block both lanes, but the bottom can't block that. Huge run from Jonathan Evans with the push from Robertson, gets that inside back, and we are once again side by side, and 26 will clear. Will he stay low? Will he go high? Well, we'll find out.
Another lead change on the books for the great roulette game of how many lead changes can we have in one race here as it goes. Everyone keeping their distance after the first two cautions. I wholeheartedly agree with that. Jason Beckner saying that in the PTR TV YouTube chat. Wholeheartedly agree with that one. I think it's a good decision too as we go. Because what's worse than one Daytona big one and two Daytona big ones? I think three Daytona big ones is the worst thing you could have here as we go through and continue along. Watch that high line there. That's the Logitech car dropping back on the high line. Surely not going to try to get a run solo. Should just drop right back into the line and go through. And Corey, Hunter, I'm kind of hungry for Taco Bell. I don't know about you all, but I keep seeing a Taco Bell car and it's making me hungry.
Somebody say Taco Bell?
Now, where is it? Oh, there it is, a 51 car. There it is. Matt, if you ever want to get a car featured on a PTR TV broadcast in big detail, have a good paint scheme, because we are very, very easy to distract here with our 5-year-old OCDs here and ADHD and all those acronyms. But yeah, Taco Bell, I think it's Tuesday. I think they have their deal on the app. You can get a $1 entree if you are the first to log into the app. I take advantage of that quite often. Getting a update here via YouTube. All of Chris DeWeese's damage is repairable. However, he has 8 minutes of it to go, so that'd probably be about, with the short cautions that we have here at Daytona, that'd probably only be, I don't know, you need 3 or 4 cautions for that, which is possible. But not at the rate these guys are going. Currently 12 laps into the stint right now. So again, we'll probably have at least another 25 laps before we even have a sniff of pit stops. And guys, I'm starting to get, Brad, you've heard this phrase that I use. I use the phrase intensely boring. And I don't say that condescendingly. I mean, you are white knuckle. You are focused. You cannot make a mistake. So that's intense. But at the same time, you're not really doing anything 2x2 in line, which can lead to the, driver boredom kind of aspect. It kind of seems like where we are now, biding some laps, which is probably what pretty well needed.
Well, here's the thing, too. It's Daytona, and after the first two worst case scenario cautions that could possibly be had there with a hardware failure and I'm going to call it a hardware failure. I don't know, what else you could do as a driver, because I feel like you're just waiting at any millisecond to have to yank that car into the grass. And, Doc Hudson says it best, go right to go left and just yank the car in the grass, get it around and hold on to it as best as you can, just to avoid, the 1X is better than being out. So we'll see what happens here as they go through, as we ride on board with Seder Nyoff here, 25-year-old with Low Money Racing, past Kyle Dragon on the last lap to win a Saturday morning Coke 600. Now, I don't know about you, I'd be bragging about that every single day of my life if I could. That's one of those, you do certain things in sim racing, Hunter, and you have to brag about them time after time after time. Anywhere you can just make that a point.
Oh, 100%. I mean, it's a huge win to have, especially in any sort of capacity in iRacing, whether that be in the Cup car or truck or Xfinity car. Any moment's a big moment to someone out there, so good to have that with them as well. Someone would like to go home tonight with bragging rights as to winning the first Pro Series race of Season 7. It's still between Jonathan Evans and Logan Clamper, but looking throughout the field, got some different names. That's a different paint scheme on that 98. I'm not sure I've seen a roof number like that.
Oh yeah, there's something funky going on with that.
One.
That's Rafe Slate in the 98. No compromises there, and yeah,
the banking will show us this quite well. Is that an oversight or is that a new fad?
I think that's done on purpose. Hunter, you may know more than me on that one, but it also sounds like you don't. So, I've never seen a roof number like that.
Yeah, I haven't seen one like that either. I'm a little perplexed by that. So it's different. Gets the branding out there. It's a black number on a white paint scheme, so it's going to stand out. So job well done, I suppose.
Well, like I said, if you want your car to be focused on the broadcast, in detail, get your sponsor shown, have an interesting paint scheme. So mission accomplished there, whether it's an oversight or whether it's intentional. It got airtime, so that's all it needs. Now, Jonathan Evans up front along with the 90, who is Logan Clampett. Again, just had to kind of number mismatches there, don't mind me. So but let's take a look at our lead change perspectives already. Where do we stand? We've had 9 lead changes here thus far. So again, we're just kind of inching back and forth per lap. Not really having too much of a shift in drivers, more as we are just maybe trading laps here each time. I think we have another car about to go a lap down. Actually, we have another sequence of cars. Justin Anisogak in that 88 coming off turn number 2, and here comes the field. They're going to catch them in the corner. Are we going to go 3 wide, or are they going to go to the apron? How are we going to mitigate this?
It does look like here they're going to pretty well hold their own. We'll see if they go all the way high, all the way low, what their plan is. It looks like the field is just going to snake by them here, and we'll just take it 3 wide, and they're going to filter their way back. They're going to get a little bit of a benefit here of a side draft. It should help pull them along a little bit. They're still not all the way down to the apron. The field just kind of playing the snake game. Go high, get around, drop back into line, but 3 wide as they come across that start-finish straight, still trying to filter those lap cars back, doing a fairly good job, and then just getting that composure back and going through. Talking about paint schemes, Throwback Week is May 1st here in the Pro Series at Darlington. I'm excited to see what throwback paint schemes come up.
Oh, that's always a blast, and it's for all 3 series, for Cup, for Truck, and even for the Pro Series as well. We got a lot of great designers in this field across all 3 series, and you may see it in the Dirt Series. I'm not sure if they're running that week or not, but it will be interesting to see that. But yeah, it's usually one of the best times of the season. Get to see all the creativity coming out from these teams, and I'm excited to see what that has in store. That was a dead heat at the line. I'm not sure who led that. Maybe Scioli, maybe Clampett. Either way, those 2 leading the way through. Back in the turn 1, almost a third of the way done at Daytona.
Up is a couple of new guys up front. I don't think we've seen the 24 of Sebastian Merritt up front, but he is now pushing Scioli there in that number 7 car to the outside. And you guys mentioned Darlington. Darlington on the list for a art update, which is a broadcaster. I love when things get pretty. As many people know, the NASCAR console game coming out, so iRacing is updating their NASCAR tracks. A lot of them are kind of older standard, but we're getting them modernized to 2025 spec. Darlington on the list. Las Vegas, Homestead, a lot of the tracks on our updated, our recent area calendar we'll be heading to will be slightly different here in a few weeks' time. Again, the new iRacing build next week, which is why we're going to be off. Some new changes, some new updates, some new releases. The new Iowa repave, that terrible pseudo-cheap Iowa repave. It's going to be featured in the sim, so a lot of good things to look forward to. New ARCA car and all these fun things. So if you're new to the iRacing service, you don't have it, of course, check out iRacing.com. I don't have a promo code, but I'm almost guaranteeing there's some kind of promo code online that can get you up into the sim. As we close in on halfway, we have a little bit of wiggle waggle there. Who was that in the middle of the pack?
Kresick?
And the 14, yep. Kresick. He gets himself stabilized, but yeah, that was a little bit scary there with that swerving down the back straightaway.
Man, they are making me a little nervous here. It's that white knuckle point. It's just, you can feel something brewing here.
Nichols going up down. A modified, not up to pace.
Not at all. The drag on that car is probably ridiculous with that hood missing, but still, kudos to being out there and about, Nichols. I respect it, trying to be out there, trying to continue to put times down. And again, the season's long. I said this in YouTube chat. The race is long, the season's longer, so we got to see what happens here and goes through. I'm really excited to sort of see where everyone puts it together by the end of the season. Don't let round 1 define it, and kudos to everyone who has taken a hit and gotten right back out there.
Yeah, about the 14 of Kresick, I'm not sure if that was him just losing control of the car and just trying to keep it straight. I think he was just a little bit bored. He's usually one of the types of drivers who will do that. Like, if the race just goes on for too far into a run, he'll do a little swerving just to feel something, you know? So maybe that was him doing that, but wouldn't be swerving right now. He's got 3 wide to his outside. I think that's Matthew Bell trying to navigate his way around. He might actually go up and join him. Well, they're touching almost, going into 3.
We'll have some tight quarters racing here. Lap number 34, again, closing in soon to be on pit stops in the near future as we pull up the stint graphic on your ticker. 22 laps in. So, and I'm looking out, everybody has pitted at some point in this race. Nobody has stayed out since the drop of the green. So again, we'll probably have pit stops right around lap 50, which usually around maybe 10 laps before pit stops. That's when you start seeing a little bit of shuffling around. That's when you start seeing the guys to the outside trying to find their pit buddies, their teammates, their affiliations down to the inside, and just trying to make sure that you can make that pit stop. A lot of coordination has to come through in these races, guys, with pit stops. Getting your team, getting yourself, not even just who are you going to draft with, how are you going to enter the pits? Because some guys have to go low, some guys have to go in the middle, and then everyone has to get down to 55 miles an hour at that code.
Well, and I kind of hate to say it, but usually when you see those green flag pit stop cycling is when you're most likely to see a caution come through at Daytona, because it's the most likely point to make an error, miss your braking zone and brake way too hot, go into the infield, try to exit out and exit up into traffic, and then traffic can't get around and that causes something. Or you just see kind of the cars start to spread out a bit more and people just get wiggly, and it creates this weird effect that you kind of can't explain. But if we get to the point of green flag pit stops, everyone's going to be biting their nails, because if you get caught out with the caution coming out with a green flag pit stop, I mean, it's a bad time.
Yeah, we saw that in the area 500. Now, it did go caution-free this past Monday, but we had an incident coming on the pit road. I think it was Anna Sogak, who hit the inside pit wall before the commitment line and wound up collecting a couple of cars with damage. So there is a tendency for that to happen, just trying to get things woed down. They're going through another lap car. And speaking of lap cars, we were just on Jake Nichols, and you mentioned that Daytona doesn't define your season. There's 17 races in the season for each 3 series, and Jake Nichols had 16 top 10s in the Pro Series last year, and the one race he did not get a top 10 finish. That was Daytona.
Update, guys. So Trading Paints, again, for people who don't watch iRacing regularly, there's a software called Trading Paints. Basically, it is a software that is managed by a third party, completely separate from iRacing, that allows drivers to upload their personal schemes and then share them in the sim. iRacing doesn't do that themselves for copyright purposes. They don't want to be liable if Tide comes and says, hey, there's a Tide car online. So it's all managed third party. And I updated it many times, and it seemed like everything was good. I just got told there was an issue, and now Logan Clampett's car has changed. It's still a mismatched number, but it is a different number than what we had half the broadcast. So Logan Clampett has a new livery paint scheme than he did to start the race. So apologies for that, but again, we can only work with the third-party software, and it functions in its own manners at certain times. So just taking that little tidbit of information in there as we come off turn number 4. Again, Dale, Justin Anasogak there going another lap down. Remember, he had that weird internet-related wreck on lap number 1 or 2.
One of the things that I do think is going to be interesting to watch here through this is, we're talking about green flag pit stops possibly coming up and coming through, but one of the things that I think is going to be really interesting is we're too wide here, and drivers are really going to have to get down to that inside line if they want to green flag pit stop here, as we ride on board with Rafe Slate, who is in P15, started P40, just kind of telling the story for me that super speedway races are never over till they're over, because you can go last to first at a super speedway like it's nothing. So we'll see how that goes through and comes around. You see everybody just kind of holding their own, but those cars on the high line are going to have to come down to the low line to get to the pits. And well, I don't know if you can tell, but that low line is not leaving a car's width between them and the car ahead. So I don't know how that works. I don't know how the radio communication is going to go here. Hunter, you've probably got insight to that just from being around for so long, of how these drivers will communicate with each other and make their plans and kind of make sure they get together and get things going right. But that's going to be that's the hard part. That's where you tend to see the cautions come out, just people trying to get down to pit lane.
Yeah, so usually if they have a teammate to the inside lane, they'll mention over the radio that they want in, and then that car will just let off in line and then find a spot to fit in on the inside lane. If that's not the case, though, then it might be a little more difficult, and they'll just have to either try to pit on the outside lane, which I wouldn't recommend, or they just go another lap and then pit with the group of cars that they have. It's difficult when you're an open car and you don't really have anyone to work with, so you kind of just got to pick and choose as the race goes on. Should be interesting once we get down to crunch time on pit road. Should be coming up pretty soon, though. Almost 30 laps done for these guys on their fuel tank.
On board with Greg Mitchell, the 47-year-old, second place in the Season 3 Xfinity Series on Furnace Racing. Good 47, that's basically geriatric in sim racing world. Shows these old guys can still compete. You don't got to be an 18-year-old whippersnapper to be able to race with these guys. The age variance, I know in Coke, I can't remember who it was, but there was always the guy in Coke that was always the oldest one, and he always said it was harder for him to keep up with real life, but, you know, everyone works hard. Everyone can succeed here in sim racing. But looks like we have a new guy kind of on that front row. The 24, Sebastian Marini, is leading the outside with the push from Sander Niehoff there. So, and just kind of shaking up the lines just a little bit. Clampett is relegated down to second there on the inside after he led quite a few laps.
Yeah, and as we keep this going through, you're going to continue to see that mix up all the way through, but drivers just kind of holding on and looking through as best they can. That low line starting to make a little bit of a push here down through, that high line dropping off. It's not that they're losing steam. It's just kind of just, I think, the way things flow through the tri-oval. You tend to see that high line back out, and then as soon as you get back to 1 and 2, that high line is right back side by side. You just kind of pick your place and go. The 76 is he trying to cool the car, or is he thinking about trying to peak it 3 wide? I don't know which, but right back in the line we go, and no 3 wide yet, but see some drivers kind of dipping the nose out of the line a bit more than I would expect here. So I worry someone's going to think about it here soon.
I'm not sure if he's thinking about 3 wide. I think he's just trying to get a little bit of clean air so he can get the massive runoff turn 4 and just cool the car a little bit before he get up to the bumper. We see the in-car here of Niehoff in the 76. He's pushing him down the straightaway, and then you'll see through the turns he'll just go up, and I think it's just to cool off the nose of that because of all the pushing he's doing on the front stretch.
On board with the rear deck, the rear bumper cam from Sebastian, and you can just see, as we were talking about, Niehoff just pulls out of line, gets a little bit of air on the nose, and then reconvenes on corner exit, gets that run, gets the push from Mitchell back there. Greg Mitchell in the 2, giving him the push, and that's always the, we saw that a few times in the truck race the other day. Got to be careful with that chain pushing, because when the pusher pushes the pusher who pushes the pushee, when you have 4 sets of pushes, eventually someone's going to lose control. So you really have to be careful and take heed to what's going on with the cars in front of you and how they respond to those pushes, which is a lot more easier to do when you have teams, because people will usually say right on the chat, "Stop pushing me, I can't handle it." But when you're racing with strangers, can't really do that as much.
Yeah, I think one of the things, too, that we haven't touched on this broadcast is the fact that this is the first round of the season. You've got new faces, old faces, all the same, mixing together. Nobody really knows how the other drivers race. Everybody's a strong, solid, professional driver. Yes, that is correct. However, keep in mind that this could be some of their first time seeing each other names through. They don't have the benefit of, say, the broadcast team where, you know, we've seen a lot of different series and we could say, well, I recognize this name from here and here. Some of these guys may have never heard of these other drivers, which isn't a bad thing for anyone. It's just they don't know how to race with each other. So there's a little bit of kind of feeling each other out as well, of deciding who's going to be the more aggressive one. Who do you need to watch with? Who's where, and how does everyone race? And you would think, as a spectator looking, that on a super speedway, it's just flat out. You're not going to learn that. You learn a lot more from super speedway racing than I think most people give credit.
Yeah, there's a lot more that goes into it. I was browsing through the channels on last week, Monday, on the area dual side of things. Ooh, that was an aggressive swipe from Aaron. But yeah, the teamwork that goes into it is kind of crazy. Dual 1 was Powerhouse Racing. They dominated that. They had 4 guys in a position there late in the going, and they all made the same move at the same time. They're communicating. All right, I'm going low here. All right, I'm 3 back here. I'm overheating. Let's do this. There's a lot more that goes into it, and again, that's with a team channel. some guys haven't raced with each other here, so they're just trying to get a feel for the things. The public radio is available. They're going through Anna Sogak again, just trying to stay out of harm's way.
He was in the fence there. Now we are just past halfway, cross flags, and again our halfway sponsor here on the evening. We'll give them a little bit of a shout out. It is going to be... Again, I'm not doing too well on my my ad reads here today, so apologies for that. But we do have one of our sponsors here today. It is Elite Entertainment. Add some life to your party this spring with Elite Entertainment, located in Boiling Spring, South Carolina. Elite Entertainment provides high-quality band production to entertain at any location, karaoke, singo, musical bingo, and more. Visit EliteEntertainment.com for more information on that. And then our halfway sponsor actually is, we're going to talk about High Banks Podcast. Two blue-collar guys, Nick and Alex, talking about NASCAR and more. Listen to episode 228 with Jacob Bell, available on Spotify. Again, all of our sponsors in the description, as well as rotating on the top of your screen, just to get some affiliation to those. But as you can see, lap 36 into our race stint since the last pit stop, so the fuel loads are drying on out, which means those plans are going to be made and those plans are going to be executed pretty soon. You have to look at being 45 laps to go, 46 laps to go, so if they can make it maybe, low 40s to go, that might be a good time to pit if they can make it there and make it a one-stopper.
Someone's going to be thinking about it, and we'll see what teams are going to do what where. This first front pack here, as they go through, this is the first 20 or so cars that are in this pack together. Actually, it's exactly 20 cars that are in this pack together. We'll see how they kind of work with each other, and let's take it 3 wide, why don't we? Doggone, I was not expecting that.
Not at this time, no.
Especially with pit stops coming up, it's a little concerning, but you got to think these guys, they want a bonus point for leading the lap, and it looks like they're doing just that. That's Jeff Wright leading the way on the outside lane. Zach Kerr wanted to get in on the action as well. 4th car in line on the outside lane. Jeff Wright, I think that's Casey Lacanis that's pushing him through. Teammates from Central United making their way towards the front.
Brad will get the joke here because with the spreadsheet.
Listen, I don't like Vegemite at all.
So
it's
basically,
disgusting.
we have a driver information spreadsheet. Gives us some of the information we've seen on the screen thus far. Some guys did not fill out a driver personalization fact. If they didn't fill it out, we filled it out for them. A few guys in the field have some interesting driver facts, such as what we saw there. But yeah, of all times to go 3 wide, is there like a halfway monetary prize here that we didn't know about? But this is the strangest time to decide to go 3 wide. But here's my take on it. Maybe, just maybe, some of the guys towards the back of the field, they want to be pitting with their friends who are up front. Therefore, they're going to make crazy moves to get up to their friends and hopefully not wreck in the process.
Well, Matthew Bell is in the pits in the number 9, dropped off of the tail end of this pack and dropped in. So we're starting to see, well, we saw one green flag stop here. He's been kind of tagging in the rear there, but 14 seconds in the box there, 33 seconds in the lane. Here's going to be the problem for Matthew Bell. You're all by yourself. You got no friends. 1 is the loneliest number that you ever knew. I mean, what do you do here? I don't know, but he's going to have a bad time, and it looks like the drivers have sorted out that 3 wide situation.
Yeah, either that was intentional or he got catfished and everybody swiped right on him there because they just left him to his lonesome there. And, that's about 3 seconds a lap that you are going to be slower without anybody coming in. And if there's going to be a gap of 3-4 seconds, actually Bell was already 6 laps down anyway, so really no issues for him. He was just in the pack, but not to any positional benefit there. Mitchell has the lead now. The Taco Bell car, Matt Kemp to the outside, making everybody hungry, trying to go for that prize, but coming off turn number 4, and no takers to pit road as we are now 40 laps in.
I think it was John Furness that peeled off the last car in line.
Yep, he was a lap down as well. Looks like those cars may be damaged, running flat out, using a little bit more fuel than these guys in the pack.
Not a bad decision for him, though, honestly, to kind of peel off where they're at and go with them being laps down through that pack, because this gets them back out. And funnily enough, you'll end up with a situation where they will be ahead of this pack, and they can be in the front of this pack. They won't be racing, quote unquote, for the lead, and we'll see if they get out of the way, or if they just try to, hang out in front as much as possible as we go through. We have gotten past half distance here, and as we continue along, I see a lot more cars in the pit there. Alan Fox, Brad Slaughter, Travis Beckner, Blaze McKinney, a lot of cars have pulled off in the pit lane here that were not running with that top 20 pack.
Well, they were a lap down. So again, I think those lap down cars, because they're running flat out at their slower pace, they're using more fuel than these guys up front who are probably 60 to 80% throttle here mid-pack. You're able to probably extend that. But what I was talking about earlier, you can see we're 42 laps in, we're 41 laps to go. This is all but confirmed to be a one-stop race from here on out.
Oh, look at that. Kemp down to the inside. He had help from Justin Opplinger. Not sure if we mentioned him yet. It's a new driver for David Weishart Racing. I think Kemp was trying to get paired up with his teammate Zach Nichols there in the 44. Going to push him to the line, and I don't think Kemp's going to lead this lap. No, I think Opplinger got it.
Just barely.
130 race wins outside of sim racing, so assuming that means he drives whether legends or street stocks, late models, something like that, or maybe he tracks his, scooter wins as a toddler. I mean, I don't know. Some people track everything, so but either way, he's won a lot of stuff here. Coming down the back straightaway, getting another lap car to the outside, number 28. I think he was just one of the drivers to pit, John Furness, that we just talked about. But we're getting to the point now. Pit stops have to be coming. We're 43 plus laps into this stint, into this sequence, and here they come. They're peeling down. That's a whole bunch of them.
Oh, I see somebody smoking the tires back there. Did we get it slowed? Oh!
Logan Clampett. Logan Clampett almost took someone out trying to get onto pit road and slowed down in time. Fortunately, gets through A-OK. You had to back up a little bit, but God, I gotta see a replay of that.
Ooh, let's watch this on board here as we come through.
This is
down
Clampett
hard
right
on the
here.
brakes,
Oh,
and
that was Clampett into the fence.
wall.
Clamp it off the backboard there.
Man, that was a hard one too. Look at that, all locked up, trying to
76 got clipped, but not enough to hurt the car too much.
76 got lucky on that one. Honestly, that was a big move. That was Sander Niehoff that got lucky here. And here's majority of the rest of the pack peeling in. Taco Bell, Liv Moss, go Moss, but get down to pit lane speed, please. And everybody there, that's a less eventful pit entry as it goes through. Justin Opplinger, just as a quick confirmation.
Oh, no, he's good.
Justin Opplinger does race the number 7 late model for Jason Smith Racing.
All right, so he's not tracking his tricycle races around his neighborhood cul-de-sac.
Listen, those bicycle wins, I don't know about you, Corey and Hunter, those bicycle wins were important to me, okay?
They were important to me, too. I beat my cousins week in and week out every time I went to my grandparents' house, and my cousin was a Jeff Gordon fan, so I had pride in beating him.
Hey, I whipped my Razor scooter around my backyard, and I ran so fast I actually put grooves down in the track, in the side, the driveway. As here comes Jeff Wright, Zach Nichols, and Daniel Day. All coming to the attention of their crew, and then we will wait to see how things shake out and shuffle back out. Here comes one pack. That's Marin, Evans, Clampett, even though he had that little faux pas. Didn't really cost him too much on the stopwatch. And everybody will blend back out, and that just shows the skill of these guys. As chaotic as that pit sequence looks, most everyone is going to blend back to where they were prior.
Pretty nice moment too for them if they're going to blend back where they were before. It kind of it alleviates a little bit of stress, I would say, for everyone. But now my question is, how quickly is this pack going to condense back up into that 20-something car pack that we had before? Or are we going to see fewer cars together to go through? It's going to be interesting to kind of see where things land out, and it won't take us but really right here off the exit to see who blends where with who.
Here comes that big pack, and 38 getting swallowed up there, and here comes the other two. Here comes Wright and Nichols. Zach Nichols, of course, the other Nichols, Jake having issues here on the evening, but those two will blend out just fine. Someone who I'm a little bit worried about Actually, no, he got picked up. That was Daniel Day. He got picked up by Casey there towards the back of the pack, and then the 64 there as well. But now we are also kind of scattered all amongst ourselves right now, guys. People on the lead lap, people off the lead lap. All these different packs are kind of coagulated now, and we'll get ourselves situated as they all, get back to where they were prior.
It's gonna be fun to really see how this pack condenses together. Hunter, you've got the experience on the league, so I'm going to lean on you for this. In these super speedway races, traditionally with the league, when they kind of do these green flag pit stop cycles, how does the mindset change for anyone when it comes back? Do they get a little more aggressive, especially because in theory that was our last pit stop of the night? If this thing goes green all the way to the end.
For the most part, no, because there's still a good bit of laps left, and usually the pack is bigger, so they would just try to focus on getting more laps in until it gets to around maybe 20 to go, and then it's like, okay, I got to start putting the pieces together of who I'm going to make my move with, when I'm going to make my move, and how I'm going to execute it. So this one's a little bit different because there's less cars in the pack, so less people to work with, less opportunities to possibly take control of this race. So I would assume some guys are starting to put the pieces together of when they're going to make their move and how.
Yeah, but there's Daniel Day, back of the pack right there that we are watching, and he was briefly looking for a 3 wide, but chose better of it as he falls back into line right there. So just shows guys trying to figure out where is the best place to be. And again, I go back to my intensely boring situation for a lot of these drivers, because it's too early to make that 3 wide, but you also know that this is really it, barring another caution. So it's really about making that plan and, for the most part, buying laps until that 3 wide time comes. So I really think we're just going to have a lot of kind of hanging out, maybe a little bit of aggressive moving, and some of those guys, maybe 15, 16, they want to move up. But I feel like these guys are going to be pretty patient, maybe till about 15, 20 to go.
Yeah, this is where the question becomes, does a teammate become a mortal enemy? And, we'll kind of see who goes where. I don't think we have anyone here in the Pro Series that is the equivalent of Jimmy Johnson and Dale Jr. Dale Jr. pushing Jimmy to the line to win Daytona. I don't think anybody here is going to want to be the Dale Jr. in this situation. They want to be up front. They want to win here. So we go through Matt Kemp in the Taco Bell, Living Moss in the lead as we go through and around. And that front pack has pretty well sorted itself out yet again. Not 20 cars, but 18 cars now as they run through. And then most everyone else a little bit off the pace, still carrying damage, still a little bit further back.
But as we are kind of at a stable point in the race now, we don't have commercials to air, but we do have copyright-free autocross action here on our PTR TV side by side, where you're not going to miss a minute of the action. We'll be back with you in a moment. All right, and that is our one and only green flag side by side of the race, unlike the 15 every 46 seconds that you'll have in the real world. So we'll have the next 30 laps here back to green. Didn't really miss a thing. Matt Kemp to the inside, along with the push from Sebastian Mayer to the inside. 05, Nate Stewart. That car, we talk about fancy paint schemes. That car is certainly something nice to look at, that 05 car. He is pushing down to the inside. Again, Nate Stewart, a 2025 Coke iRacing driver on Jim Beaver Esports. So he is no stranger to some high competition racing, and trying to see what he can do here in area. Jonathan Evans, guys, he's got shuffled back in line. He's led a lot of this race after of 11 laps, which is a lot for a plate race. But he's now shuffled back in that position where he's going to have to fight to get himself back up there.
He's not in a bad position, though. He's still in 6th. He's still right there up in the front. And again, I think we're hitting this point where, drivers are going to be nice and sort of, I don't want to say relaxed, because again, it's that white knuckle super speedway, real close racing. And after the first 2 cautions of the night, nobody's relaxed here. Everybody's holding their breath to lap 95 around Daytona here. I think really, I guess the right word to say would be, actually, I don't even know what the right word would be to say for them as they go through. So everyone's just kind of looking through. Hunter, I don't know really if we should be looking for any more cautions tonight as they go around. I'm not sure really where things are going to be. I think everyone's kind of got the jitters out as it goes, so we'll see what happens.
It might be in this pack right here. I believe that some of the moves that they'll be making later on could be a little too aggressive, and someone could be bumped in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it could lead to a crash when things start to get a little desperate. But for now, everything's calm, cool, and collected. The Taco Bell machine of Matt Kemp is leading. Logan Clampett, Sebastian Mayer, a couple of strong cars to keep at bay. And I think Clampett, he won't lead this time by, but he's got Matthew Batby behind on that outside lane, second car. And then you mentioned Nate Stewart, the third car in on that inside lane. He won the first duel, part of that Powerhouse Racing group that I was able to listen to. They were all working together, so going to be interesting seeing how he puts himself in a spot to potentially win the first race of Season 7 in the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series.
Of course, indeed. And just to go through the field one more time, and I think we didn't have a caution after halfway. The only sponsor I don't think we've taken care of here tonight is rickshotsauce.com. Go to rickshotsauce.com for the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Try the Lokahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see which driver will take home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the standings. Area Cup Series on the IDK Player YouTube channel on Mondays. Again, rickshotsauce.com. A couple of the other things we haven't focused on or haven't paid attention to, we do have some little mini packs. We have the 98 of Rafe Slate and then Justin Opelniger there, 19th and 20th. And then we have a little mini pack 40 seconds behind, so they are going to be next on the chopping block of going a lap down. Sander Niehoff, Bryce Sunasek, Travis Beckner, Slaughter, Fox, Miller, and McKinney. Oh, actually not McKinney. Miller, they are all in that pack. And then we have the 87 of Blaze McKinney running by his lonesome. If you're catching us late, we had a massive wreck on lap 2 due to some kind of this odd issues of sorts, not really driver specific. Had a hardware issue about maybe 15 laps later that took out another bunch of drivers. Since then, we have been clean and green here in the Area Pro Series, brought to you by Florida Estate Builders.
I've been keeping my eyes on the second pack as we go through here, starting with Sander Niehoff back in P21. That's been really where, as we focused on this lead pack, I've been keeping an eye on them. They've been very single file, just very smooth and together. They're only topping speed at about 186 miles an hour down the front stretch. So they're a little bit off the pace, but they've been kind of nice and tidy through. They're keeping their own little battle going, even though they're not, in that big lead pack battle for the win here. But again, one little thing happens, it could group them back up as they go. They're not, not looking in a bad spot here, but there you can see the lap time comparisons as they go.
Over a second between the two, and that's just even running single file. It's just more cars, more fun. So you just need to have those cars, even though they're not single file, the way that the aero model works on these, even though they're running, side by side. They will run faster than those drivers that are single file in that small pack. But we are already within 25 laps to go, so we are in the last quarter-ish. I mean, it's 95 laps, so that throws off my mental percentages a little bit, but I think we're in the last quarter of this 237-mile race here at Daytona International. So this is where the drivers are. They may already have their plans, and of course, Hunter, you're going to know the team affiliations offhand better than we are. Is there drivers that you expect to be working together that aren't, configured appropriately yet?
Yeah, I'm looking through. Logan Clampett's kind of in a tough spot. Doesn't really have anyone to work with. Matt Kemp, on the other hand, I believe at one point he did have, I believe, Zach Nichols in the 44. John Furness and Greg Mitchell, a part of that Furness Racing group as well. A lot of intricate names here that I'm really not used to seeing. Nate Stewart in the 05. I think he's an open car. I'm most likely wrong on that. So, no, he's a part of Powerhouse Racing. Blaze McKinney was caught up in that. Ed Robertson. He was up front at some point throughout the beginning of the race, and Braxton Lewis actually out of the race, so he's in a little bit of a tough spot here. So it's just kind of who you merge well with together. That's been going on for the last 30 laps or so, because most of these guys, they've been in the same pack, and got a little three-wide action here. I think Greg Mitchell is going back to the back of this pack. He's stuck on that third lane with no one going with him.
All the way to the top of the track, and you can see off of turn number 4 the sun starting to dive under a little bit. I don't think we're going to have any blinding moments just due to the timing of year, but you can see I don't think we're going to end under the lights. I never went over the weather here today. I mean, it's a plate track. It's kind of useless, but just for the sake of saying that we told you, 70 in the air, 74 track temp, and we are now pushing 6 p.m. sim time, and of course the track, unlike, I think, the 2021 Coke 400, the track is dry here today, so no random wreck into turn number 1 is to be expected due to moisture. But coming down the back straightaway, 2 wide, still 3, and I'm almost wondering if Mitchell is trying to hint to someone, hey, let's go, let's go. He can't put the hand out the virtual window, but I almost wonder if that's intentional at this point.
It's gotta be. I mean, if you can't beat him, join him. That's the thing. He's going to keep, I think, ducking that up, and he's going to be looking for somebody to join him here to go through. And at this point, there's no reason to not try to take it 3 wide. Be comfortable there. That 64 in the back, I think, is going to probably decide to join him for some company if they can get the wiggle room to get through. That's Ed Robertson there kind of looking through, and maybe we'll start to see this thing get 3 wide, this thing get a little bit feisty. We're starting to hit 20 to go here. This is where the nail biting hits for me. You can feel kind of the build up, kind of the lack of patience start to hit. Everybody kind of starts at that point of, okay, when do I go? What do I do? And someone's going to basically set things off. It's just a question of who.
Exactly.
We might get our answer in a little bit here. Stewart's not going to lead that time through, but Jonathan Nevins is an open car. He was one of the late entries before this race began, so he's just kind of working with whoever he can. He's in the middle of a Furness Racing sandwich, camping, and then teammate Zach Nichols not too far behind. Zach Nichols has had a whale of a day. He got caught up in a couple of the big and only wrecks of the race, and he's still in a good spot to potentially pull off a top 5 finish, or maybe even help his teammate Matt Kemp get to victory lane here.
Exactly that. As we head down, as you said, 20 laps to go as the ticker changes over here. We do have about 8 drivers who have retired from this race. Still have 35 drivers on track. Our attrition list is as follows: Braxton Deweese, Trey Edson, John Forbes Jr., David Weibsart, Philip Groner, Brady Wallerman, Michael Mohammed, Mike Venable, and then Ed Scherer Jr. All of those drivers are since retired from Daytona. Connor Okresic may be having some, I don't know, my timing sheet is having issues with him right now, but he's currently running on track. There it is right now. I don't know if he had some kind of issues in the background, but it's all alleviated now. We have Drew Jua there in that Starbucks car down to the inside, all running by his lonesome. He is getting lapped once more. as they'll funnel a brief 3 wide, back to 2, back to double file formation here, still buying laps.
Just keep it double file, keep it grooving. It's that white knuckle moment, and somebody somewhere is going to make a move. And look at the 61. It has a PTR TV logo as well. I just noticed that. 22-year-old James Sicily here is 609 Motorsports, 4-time area champion. Going to be trying to chase 5 this season. And I tell you what, 5 on 7 is not a bad deal if you can make it work.
I would just like a little clarification. That's Skyler, not Sicily, but that's a great nickname.
Is that the capital of Italy?
No, it might be the unofficial capital of Italy now.
I have Italian food on the mind, and I tell you what, I already know that paint scheme is probably going to change before we hit Homestead in 2 weeks, just because of what I just said.
But here comes the 3 abreast racing here as we hit 17 laps to go. They're 3 wide. Whoa, big push from right to the back of Batby there. That got him all slideways and sideways, but he'll recover. And now, guys, I am absolutely terrified now because we're 3 by 3, and choo-choo, there's a train of lap cars up front. I do not want to push 4 wide here at Daytona. It's mathematically possible, but it's realistically ridiculous.
I mean, if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. You and me and Hunter all know that you're not going to get this lead pack to slow down, and you're not going to get this second pack to really just dump it off the apron here. They come through the tri-oval. Lead pack is just now hitting the start of the tri-oval. Hold your breath for about the next 2 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. If you're a fan of any car in the top 20, possibly look away, keep the broadcast on. I don't know what's going to happen here.
Yeah, looking to sort out some technical difficulties going on, but we still have a solid 3-wide battle for the lead. Nate Stewart's still holding it strong in the middle, and in the inside, it's still Matt Kemp. I think Stewart's got a little bit of a breakaway where he can move down if he wants to, or maybe move up, because that third lane's starting to get closer and closer. Logan Clamper leading the way through, but it's still Kemp leading things off 4.
Trying to work out those technical issues. There's a wreck in the back end. That's the number 12 going around here. We're going to go just radio here for a second while we go through. That's the number 12 spinning through. We have our next caution on the day. Looks like a single car spin, though. I don't see really too many other cars getting involved with it. Let's get a little bit of an indication on how that happened and see if we can't get this screen fixed for you all. And we're still on a green screen. What the? Let me just try one thing really quick.
There it goes.
Is it good now?
I don't. Yeah, I have no apologies for that temporarily lapse. I mean, I'm kind of not in full control of what happened there, just due to the third-party softwares and whatnot. But let's see what happened to the 12. You can see they're 3 wide. 2 kind of bounced off of Okresic and just down the track just a little bit into the 12. And all that came before we were about to go 3 wide, which is obviously a very, very good situation.
Yeah, I'm very glad to see everything back up again. If you know anything about PTR TV, you know that every once in a while a technical gremlin shows up. Sometimes it's just a minor ATVO moment. Sometimes it's iRacing Week 13 rears its ugly head. Every once in a while it's just YouTube doesn't want to encode our stream, and seems like that's what happened in this moment. We're back, and also that was plus 2 points to the number 2 for that lap 80 incident is the official ruling from Race Control as we come out and about here. Continue on caution. Drivers going into the box here, a few people at least. Hunter, would you pit?
As well. I mean, there's not too many cars left on the lead lap. I think there's only about 26. There's the opportunity for a wreck to occur, especially given that we're heading into the closing stages of this race. So it wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, maybe if you have some damage that you want to repair just to try and maximize the strength of the car. Other than that, I'm not really sure if tires are a concern. Maybe fuel also as well. But for the most part, if you're up front like Matt Kemp, Nate Stewart, Logan Clampa, I wouldn't see a reason to pit. Maybe if you're like outside the top 10 or 15th on back, maybe I would consider pitting.
Yeah, tires not too big of a concern here, especially if they were in any capacity. The fact that the temp's going down, the lights are about to turn on here at Daytona, as again we are now past 6 o'clock virtual time based out of March, so sunset probably around 6:30, so the lights will probably turn on and we'll have the sunset finish to tonight's Florida Estate Pro Builders Series Daytona 237 here. I don't think we have a formal race name here, but our race recap here today. We've had 3 cautions for 7 laps, 32 lead changes, not as much as the truck race, but we still have some time to sort that out. I think we did have 1 free pass beneficiary. I think that was Bryce Senesek, I'm going to loosely say here, as he closes in on the back of the field.
And as we see everybody coming through, kind of grouping things up, getting comfortable here, I'm kind of just looking through up and down the field. I'm trying to get an idea of who's where doing what. We've got currently 27 cars on the lead lap, and 1 car, the number 87 of Blaze McKinney, the only car 1 lap down. Everybody else is some multitude of laps down. 34 cars still running out of this 43 car field as they started. We're going 1 to green here. Corey, I don't think the cautions are done yet. I don't think this thing is buttoned up in a tidy, pretty bow yet.
I wouldn't. I would put a bet to say you're probably right, because I know it's Daytona. It is a bunch of guys who are very, very competitive and very skilled. They know the positions they could put their cars in, but also that means that they have so much confidence in their skills that sometimes they have too much confidence, which puts themselves in precarious positions. We see it all the time. We see it in the real world on a weekly basis. So guys, PTR TV style, take your picks. Who's winning this thing?
I'm going to put a pick out there that I don't know if it's going to stick or not, but I think I really like the look of Matt Kemp, and it's not just because he has Taco Bell, but I do like the look of Matt Kemp. I also like the look of that number 61 of Daniel Day, and it's not just because it's a pink PTR TV car, but that is also another car that I think could just come out of nowhere. Not in a bad position back there. P13 at the moment could show up and show out. We'll see. We'll see who gets through at the end and who's going to be drinking that victory fuel in our victory circle.
I'm going to say that Logan Clampett. I mean, you can't go against a guy who's won races at the upper echelon of iRacing, so I'm going to go with him. What about you, very quickly, Hunter?
It's a toss-up for me. I'm going to have to go with, give me Garrett Grant. He's still in this field. I still like his chances.
All right, we'll see who's right. Put your bets in chat. We'll keep an eye out. We'll keep a score of it. No, maybe we'll make this a little year-long game we got. But the green flag is out with 12 laps to go here at the World Center of Racing. Firing off into turn number 1. Clampett with the push to Kemp. Outside lane is working together, and their momentum will probably build off of turn number 2. We'll see as they come. Here comes the head of steam from Stewart. Is the 51 going to block, or is he going to stay down with Clampett?
And as they come off of 2, hitting 180 miles an hour already, continuing to accelerate, you can see that the first 15 or so are together, but that mid back end there of this pack is really where things are mixed up. But in the front, they just want to hold it together. But that 26, look at the wiggle there going through. That was Jonathan Evans. I really thought he was going to lose that car.
But he held it together and is keeping the fight for Nate Stewart on that outside lane, and it's still Kemp leading the way through. 11 laps remaining. Saw Garrett Grant in the back make the move all the way up to the outside. Starting to get a nice run. Nate Stewart a little wobbly heading into 1.
Stewart a little bit wobbly. Again, the pushes are going to get more and more intense as every lap elapses here at Daytona. You're going to have to hold on tight because people want the draft, they want the positions, and they're not going to care as much about what happens to the guy in front. So coming down the back straightaway, here comes the first 3 wide. It's going to be the pink PTR TV car of Daniel Day. He's going a little bit high up the track. There's pancake in the door of Mitchell. Mitchell is trying to make that third lane work. And again, space is very tight. 35 feet worth of width here at Daytona. It's enough for 4 wide, but 3 wide is hairy enough. But they're going to have to get used to it because that's going to be the name of the game for the next 10 circuits.
Absolutely. 10 circuits to go around this track. They should be able to make it work, but you and me and Hunter and the man in the moon and everyone around knows that, well, when you start to tell drivers that the Daytona 500 is on the line, that the area Pro Series, Florida State Pro Series is on the line here at Daytona, they get a little feisty. They're not going to play nice, and they're going to get their way one way or another. But that build to get up to the front, if you're mid to back pack, you're thinking about it now. You're really looking to make a move. You're looking to do something, and the sun's setting here, Hunter, but this race is far from over.
Far from over, and that third lane starting to get tight in line. That's Garrett Grant not leading the way through. He's pushing the car on that outside. I believe that's Greg Mitchell in the 2. And then Ed Robertson coming back inside the top 10 as well. So those three, they're the only three on that outside lane. No one else is going with them, but they're keeping it tough there to the middle group with Nate Stewart leading the way and with Matt Kemp leading on the bottom.
Oh, there's the push from Clampett to the 51. You saw the 51 wobble there as it looks like there's Florida wildfires here off in the atmosphere. This is kind of the lighting going on here at present, but we're 3 wide. The push has gotten the 2 from the 5 of Grant to the 2 of Mitchell, gotten the 3 wide all the way up to the lead row. We have yet to see that yet. We're 3 by 3 by 3. It is not the start to the Indianapolis 500. This is the finish to the Area Pro Series here at Daytona.
Keep bringing it around the start-finish line. We're going to keep that 3 by 3 going. Trying to look here at where the team games are. Who is where? Who has a teammate? Do you have a friend? Do you have a mortal enemy around you? Because that's going to be important information to know what your chances are going through here. We go through that gorgeous 1 and 2 with the sunset behind. Come through. Look at the run in the mid-pack there. That is a bump and a shove, and this mid-pack is going to keep it going. Midline going through into 3. Hunter, they keep it moving. They keep it grooving. Nobody's backing off yet. We'll be 7 to go at the line.
Yeah, not really much teammates to work with inside the top 10. Everyone's all mumbo jumbo, different teams. Some not even on a team, just trying to race their way in, and they did just that. That being Jonathan Evans there in the 26, right in the middle of that chaos as they're coming across the stripe with now, I believe, 7 laps to go. Yes, 7 to go. Still 3 by 3 throughout the rest of the field in the 1.
3 by 3 for the most part. Top 2 rows are 2 by 2, and that makes you wonder what's the 05 going to do. He's in that very, very precarious spot. Does he want to stay with the 26, or if that run from the 2 comes to the outside, is he going to want to go up there? Well, he's not going to have a choice because the run came too quickly. Now he's getting the push. The 26 giving the push to the 05 as the 5 gives the push to the 2. Only row that's not really thriving is the bottom. Just as I say that, it goes into speed mode, gets the run, gets to surge, and now Kemp has the ability to change lanes if he desires. He's clear of all 3 rows, but he's going to stay planted to the bottom with Clampett.
And planted to the bottom there. Good decision, I believe, as we come through. 6 laps to go as they cross the line. And we're going to bring it around town, keep it going up and down and all the way through. There's no question about pace here. There's no question about driving line. This is super speedway racing at its finest as we go on board here with that Busch Light car, and we keep following through. Let's watch Justin Bolton here and watch that run on the high line that kind of caught me off guard.
Yeah, they're starting to lose a little bit of momentum on that third lane, but coming off corner exit, they get a run that propels them almost alongside the 05 and Nate Stewart, but nothing much to work with there, and a couple of them are scraping the wall coming off 4, and it's still Kemp leading the way on the bottom, Stewart on the middle, and then on the outside, it's still Greg Mitchell. Again, that third lane, they can get runs, but they can't quite get enough of a run to where they can get around and possibly clear themselves from the first 2 on the bottom.
3 by 3 by 3. It's obviously white knuckle. It's intense, but then there's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. If you're stuck there in the middle, such as where we saw with Bolton, with Grant, the guy's just in the middle of this 3 wide. You're waiting for something to happen, but you don't want it to happen to you. Is the wreck going to come into fruition? Are the bad bumps going to come? Is there going to be a bad blocker? Are we going to finish this 3 by 3 in the most utmostly intense style possible? Stay tuned for the next 4 laps here around Daytona. Just under 10 miles of action is left. Who's going to get it at the stripe? Dead even? I think that was going to be Kemp if it was the final lap.
3 of the last 4 races here in the Area Pro Series have went to overtime, so it's not unheard of, and 2 of those overtime moments were at 4 to go. So this is going to be where you have to hold your breath. We see the bumps on the low line and everyone really trying to figure it out, get it together. This is where you have to be careful. We still have that 05 Nate Stewart in the midline. He's really happy with that middle line there being pushed by Jonathan Evans, and they are just really holding it together in that midline. But as they come through the corner, they lose the run on the bottom. You got to start thinking about that final lap, what you're going to do.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough to try and get yourself in a good spot for that final lap. That third lane struggling a little bit at the moment. Kemp's still in a very good spot, Nate Stewart as well. But that third lane, they're losing a little bit more ground.
But as each lap goes by, at some point, Mitchell's going to get a run, and then you're going to be Nate Stewart. You're going to be in a spot where, do you go to the top? Do you take the run? I feel like you have to, but then that would give Jonathan Evans an opportunity. These are all the calculations that these drivers are making in their heads. What if I do A, is B going to happen? And if B happens, is C going to be the end result? You never know. It's just kind of luck of the draw, and you just have to hope all the while that you don't go on your lid and that we can make it 5 more miles around Daytona.
Coming down to the tri oval here to go, 2 to go. This is where the gloves, if they weren't off before now, you better take them off, throw them to the side, and you are pushing. You've got 5 miles to figure it out here around Daytona as we go through. Still sticking 3x3. The 2 still losing the line through 1 and 2 as they come around. That 51 looking really good. Matt Kemp is in a good position there, and that 05 of Nate Stewart still in a good position in the midline here. Hunter, I don't know whether to close my eyes or just stare in disbelief at this point. I'm nervous.
I'm staring in disbelief. I can't believe what I'm seeing. They haven't wrecked yet. It's so tight. It's so close. And look at Logan Clamp. He's got enough room. He's going to go to the middle lane. He's going to get bumped from Nate Stewart. Now he's in a good spot to try and snatch the win away from Matt Kemp.
Unlike in the real world, we are not going to have a caution clock graphic on the bottom. If we hit the white, which we just did, that means we will hit the checkers. Doesn't matter who's upside down, left side up, right side down. We're going to finish this thing under green flag. Coming down through turn number 1, Logan Clampett, our Coke Series driver, has the temporary lead, but here comes Kemp with the run to the bottom, but he doesn't have solid help. The 24 just now coming with a run. We come to the back for the final time.
Down the backstretch here, you see Logan Clampett there in that 42 get a little bit of a wiggle. Matt Kemp is right there.
Oh, no.
That 24 gives a shove, and there's the spin on the backstretch.
We're around. That is huge carnage, but we're going to have to go back to the end some way or another. We're going to go back green. We're going to go back with the number 51 of Matt Kemp. He survived the carnage. We're going to race back to the green. John Furness in second. He's not going to have enough time, so in absolutely calamity style, Kemp survives the wreck and wins the race in the Taco Bell ride here at Daytona.
They're still wrecking too. They're still wrecking there in the backstretch through 3. They are absolutely jumbled up. It is not over. It is an absolute mess. They're still wrecking off of 4. Look at that. Still cars spinning on the banking.
They're just trying to make it to the finish. That car, I think, has no steering whatsoever. I mean, unbelievable finish. We'll have to take a look at that again. I think the first car I saw that go up in the air was a 2 of Greg Mitchell, but we saw start with Logan Clampett. Bad bump from Nate Stewart. I mean, it's the last lap. You got to do what you got to do. And it just happened wrong place, wrong time.
Yep, and you can see there up on his side is Mitchell. I mean, cars on top of each other, just absolutely just decimating turn 3 and 4. And a couple guys got through relatively well. And one guy I do want to look at was John Furness, because we didn't pay any mind to him at all, and he walked out of this thing with a second place finish. Just take a look from his perspective.
This is coming off a 2 here, and look at this. He sees it going. He drops to the low line. He's kind of thinking about moving, and just, I mean, there's no other better definition of the gates opening for you in the best way.
And it wasn't done. It got by the 44. Yeah, that's just classic racing here. But again, Matt Kemp was the one who was up front when that happened, and was able to take advantage of it here. He's doing his donuts there on the front straightaway, deservedly so here at Daytona. Our top 3, well, we probably expected to talk to Matt Kemp, but I don't think we expected to talk to John Furness and Zach Nichols, who finished second and third here on the evening. So congrats go to, of course, the 51, but let's go and start our post-race show here at the World Center of Racing. And let's go over our finishing lineup here today. Have you started off for us, Brad?
And pulling out that big win in the end, Matt Kemp there with a big run. John Furness, that number 28, that second place out of nowhere, the floodgates opened up. And Zach Nichols with a very solid third place. Justin Bolton in fourth place. James Sicily Scioli in fifth place. I'm going to call him that for the whole season. Connor in the number 14 found sixth place out of nowhere. These results are so mixed up. I can't believe it. Alan Fox in P7, Rafe Slate in P8, Garrett Grant in P9, and Matthew Batby in P10. Hunter, what's our next 10 look like?
Man, and it's Justin Opplinger in the 55, Nate Stewart, who was given that bump to Logan Clampett and set off that chain reaction of Rex coming to the checkered flag, finishes 12th, Sander Nyhoff 13th, Sebastian Marin comes home 14th, Andrew Payne brings it home 15th, Travis Beckner 16th, Zach Kerr 17th, Daniel Day 18th, Ed Robertson had a pretty fast car, led a lot of laps today, finishes 19th, and then Logan Clampett finishes 20th.
21st through 30th, we have Jeremy Miller in 21st, Jeff Wright in 22nd, Bryce Senezak 23rd, Casey, he told me how to pronounce his name, but I forgot, so I'm just going to call you Casey in 24th. 25th is Jonathan Evans, he was up front all day. Greg Mitchell, he had cars on top of him, sideways, every which direction there in the last lap. Brad Slaughter, Blaze McKinney, Dominic Lemowski, and then Drew Jua, and we'll just let the last 10 scroll by here because we do have to get to our post-race show here. So notables on this screen, David Weishart out early, as well as the 88. Remember, he had his issues very early in the race. And then our final set of drivers, again, the top 43 started. The rest were all DNQs. So getting ourselves ready for the post-race show, guys. I don't know if you've made the trek to Victory Circle there, Brad, but I know there's a very excited Matt Kemp for us to get down there.
I have found Victory Circle with the Victory Fuel. Matt Kemp, first off, Liv Moss. Second off, talk me through your race, man. That's about all I've got here. Started way in the back of the pack and found it in P1 in the end.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I hate that the net code was so crazy there, but yeah, it was a ton of fun to run up through there. Teammates played a great strategy. We caught a little luck with missing those wrecks, and then yeah, strategy worked out for us. We got to the front and just held her on the bottom, and it worked out.
I gotta ask you here because I was looking at it early on, but those first two wrecks within the first 5 or 10 laps there, did they kind of change your plan for the race, kind of how aggressive you were going to be, what you were looking to do, or did they do nothing to you?
No, I'm going to be honest with you. Usually I think about a plan, but tonight I barely even made the race. I joined during qualifying and was just like, well, we'll see what happens. And I was literally at the end of the backstretch, like, I really don't know what I want to do. And then they started wrecking. I'm like, well, now I know what I want to do. Just ride back here, I guess. And it just kind of worked out that, seas parted for us a couple times and good pit stop, and we ended up front.
Man, Matt, it was an absolutely amazing run to watch. I got to ask you, with the first win under your belt here in the Pro Series for this first round, not your first win overall, but your first win in this round, what are we thinking for the rest of the season? Of course, we have next week off. What are we thinking going in through the rest of this season? What's your goals, your ambitions? What are we thinking here?
Well, I kind of deemed last season, because last season really did not go well for me at all. I think we had one good thing happen at Texas with a caution, but other than that, it was pretty bad. I chalked it up to the paint scheme. So Zach painted me a new car for tonight, and it seems that was it because it worked out for us tonight. But we'll keep repping the Taco Bell paint scheme with the various colors that Zach decided to throw on there, and hopefully it gets us through the rest of the season.
Tell you what, man, it was awesome to watch. Big congratulations to you on the victory. Look forward to seeing what you do for the rest of the season.
Thank you, Brad. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Thanks, you too. Thanks to you guys, and big thanks and shout out to my teammates, Zach, John, and Greg for all the great help tonight.
and that was our race winner, Matt Kemp. And I believe that we have Zach Nichols floating around here in third place. I don't think usually we go out of order, but Corey, I think we're going to go out of order with this one because Zach Nichols is ready to go, ready to party.
Yeah, and I'm not seeing John here. I don't know if he expected to be here, but someone who did expect to be here maybe is the number 44 of Zach Nichols. So Zach, what a chaotic race started off with some very interesting issues, kind of iRacing related, that kind of skewed the rest of the field. We had a huge run towards the checkers, a lot of green flag racing, and then of course what is a little shootout to top things off, man. Just kind of summarize your night and how'd you end up on the podium here tonight?
Yeah, we had our fair share of events. We were pretty much in the middle of that big one on the first opening lap, but somehow came unscathed with only 20-something seconds of damage. So that was good. And yeah, we just kind of rode around with our teammates for most part of the race, and we're there at the end. And luckily enough, we were able to miss that big one on the backstretch and come home P3.
Obviously, we'd love to say that, you had it all planned out. It worked exactly as you thought. But of course, these plate races, you have to just take them as they are. Once all those issues happened, we kind of asked this to Matt. Did your race kind of change at all? We were like, all right, let's just buy some time, or did you kind of have a plan that you guys were set to, and just kind of had to, manipulate it as the night went on?
I really didn't have a plan. I just kind of sat on the bottom then the entire race and just let people shuffle their way to the top, and then slowly and surely I made my way up there, and yeah, we were lucky enough to get a top 3 here.
All right, and of course, 2 weeks' time, we head to Homestead Miami Speedway and post-build. We'll see if there's any changes that'll be worth noting, but Homestead, a very slick track, multiple grooves usually. What's your confidence level heading to the quote-unquote real start of the season in 2 weeks' time?
Oh, I love it. These cars are probably my favorite on the service, so looking forward to going to Auto Club and getting the real season on.
All right, well, we'll look forward to seeing you. Any final words before we let you go, man?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Kearney's Complete Auto Service, Corrigan Oil Company, PSS&C. They do a lot to help us out, and my teammates for helping out. And yeah, that's about it.
All right, absolutely, man. Congrats on parting the seas here today and getting on the podium.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, and just doing one quick last look through the chats here, the channels or radio channels for Mr. John Furnass. Oh, he is here. He's hiding. He didn't make himself overly visible for us, but he is here. And Hunter, if you want to have a brief word with Mr. John, see how he parted the seas there.
Yeah. Here we go, Mr. John Furnace. Welcome to the booth. Congrats on the third place finish.
Second.
I mean, the seems like the seas parted for you just as good as it did for the other two in front of you. But talk me through that. What was that like on the last lap?
Yeah, no doubt. Excited to bring it home tonight. Honestly, I don't have many words. It's just I've been at the wrong end of so many of these things. I feel grateful to finish, and then to finish where we did. I mean, I couldn't be happier. It's just a crapshoot, and it seems like I always get wrecked out of these deals. But just glad to bring it home tonight in one piece, honestly.
Yeah, gotta be a great feeling for that Furnace Racing Group finishing 1, 2, 3, sweeping the clean sweep of the podium. We have an off week next week, but talk me through how you're going to tackle on Homestead Miami. I know we saw you win last season over at Bristol, so talk me through what this rest of the outlook for the season is going to look like for Furnace Racing.
Well, Furnace Racing is going to put in a little bit more work this year, work a little bit harder, be a little bit more competitive. The guys in this league are top notch, and we're here to win some more races and trying to put together a run, for the championship. One of us. I mean, we got a lot of good guys on this team here, but really this is where it gets good. This is what we like, the speedway stuff, the short track stuff. Really looking forward to this coming up because I feel like it's kind of our bread and butter.
Alrighty, well, congrats on the clean sweep on the podium, the third place finish for you, or second place, I should say. We'll out of order here, but and the win for Matt Kemp, the first of his career here in the area, and his 14th start. So congrats on the clean sweep, and we'll see you in a couple weeks' time at Homestead.
Yep, big congrats to Matt, and thank you guys for what you do in the booth there. Proud to be a part of this group. Great group of area guys here, and had a lot of fun tonight.
All right, that is our second place finisher here today, John Furness here. So guys, obviously, let's see what's our final take here on lead changes. 36 lead changes here at a 95-lap race, 3 cautions, so a very clean race for the most part. Of course, we had some major carnage, but that 3-wide racing at the end, guys, that's breathtaking. That's kind of stuff that we're going to remember all year, seeing that stuff.
Man, this is going to be such a good season. If Tuesday and Thursday are anything to go off of, man, Corey, Hunter, we're in for such a good one. This is going to be so much fun. So glad to have Area on board 2 nights a week here on PTR TV for this season. And I just can't wait, man. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, this off week is going to feel like an eternity. I mean, this whole off season's felt like an eternity. It's been a little longer of an off season than what Area is used to, but got everything sorted out, and now we just wait for the build week to go through and take its course and get everything back into the swing of things in a couple weeks' time at Homestead for the Cup, for the trucks, and for the Pro Series. Corey, Brad, it was a pleasure being here with you tonight. Can't wait to see what the rest of the season has in store.
Absolutely the case here. Again, just want to finally give a last second shout out to all of the sponsors with the videos, with the channel here, the league, Area iRacing Twitch. If you're watching on there, make sure you follow the Twitch channel. Consider subscribing. Of course, if you're watching on YouTube, again, help us out here in that capacity as well. Central Mobile Homes for our starting grid sponsor, Hendry County Motorsports Park. They sponsored all of the replays that we used heavily here tonight. Elite Entertainment, High Banks Podcast, Rick's Hot Sauce, shop.areiaracing.com, and of course Victory Fuel. Celebrate tonight's win as Matt Kemp is with Victory Fuel. Choose from caffeine-free flavors like Throttle Punch, Purple Potion, or Lucky Lemon. Each can is packed with electrolytes, charged with vitamins, and kid-friendly. Get 10% off with your code Area iRacing at checkout. As Brad said, we got some more videos coming up here on the channel next week. Make sure you like, subscribe, catch all the content. That's going to be Corey, Brad, and Hunter signing out of the booth. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.
Hey, yo.